Hi, Maddie and Eli. Daddy here. It's a beautiful, bright spring day today and cheerful. So I thought, what better time than to talk briefly about my missing. My first taste of death, I suppose, up close, other than the usual childhood deaths of pets, which I kind of is the point of pets, to prepare the child for the long walk to the grandparents' bedroom. And of course my grandfather, my mother's grandfather. Um, my first real taste was, I suppose, at Purcell School. A cellist friend who was in a year below me, called Adam Bethlen, whose parents, after he died, set up a charity fund which still runs to this day. And he died ostensibly of septicemia. I'll be honest, we didn't believe it very much because we kind of figured out pretty quickly that if you're dying of septicemia, the body knows it's dying of septicemia and would do something about it. However, that was the story given. We all suspected a drug overdose. But like I said, this is all a moot point. Yes, and of course there's my mum and dad. Of course, they're all gone now. And my aunt, Angela, who died shortly after my mum. Actually, they were quite similar. And then there have been the friends who've killed themselves over the years. My friend Zahir Manji, one of the people to whom my first book is dedicated, he threw himself under a tube train at Green Park one day. I guess he couldn't deal with life anymore. I've never been of the persuasion who think suicide is a terrible thing and people should be, stopped from doing it at all costs. I've always felt that if life could have been endured, then they would have endured. And thus I see their suicides, if that's what was right for them, as being, to a certain extent, a positive. Certainly was for Zahar, I know that. He was in too much pain to continue. And then there was Israel McNally, a good friend, who hanged himself after a night of heavy drinking. We'll never quite know why he did that, but he was a troubled fellow. And there have been the people who have died naturally, of course. A wonderful musician called Nick, who died of cancer very sadly, and his ashes were scattered in Epping Forest, and the next day after the ceremony, me and a few friends went back and planted over the place where his ashes were scattered. We planted literally hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of wildflower seeds in the hope that for years to come, if his children visited the site, hopefully at the right time, it would be covered in a sea of beautiful coloured flowers. And of course there's my sister, whom I don't see because obviously she's in your life, she's your aunt, and that's worth more. Of course, it's completely ridiculous to think one can have a relationship with someone who has a relationship with your son, but won't discuss or talk about that son, and you're forbidden from mentioning them. I mean, that's just not reality. There's no way that's going to work. It's too painful, certainly on one side, if not logically for both sides. But to a certain extent as well, you guys are my missing as well. Although, thankfully, you're alive and well, thriving, hopefully. And maybe one day that can be put right. Unlike my other missing, and those I miss terribly. But anyway, Daddy loves you always. Stay safe, and I hope to see you soon, as always. Mwah.